Welcome to the next episode of Decants with D. I am your host. I am Dietmar Ostermann, and I'm the regular guy from Long Island. We are introducing you to white wines today. If you're already an expert in white wine, go to my specialized series on Sauvignon Blanc, Orange Chardonnay. But if you want to learn more about the basics of white wine, this is your show. All right, so now about white wine. The most world famous 3 white wine grapes are Riesling first, Sauvignon Blanc second, and Chardonnay third. Why those 3? Well, they all come originally from France and they are dominating the white wine world. Of course, today with very different implications. So let's start with the Riesling. I have them assembled here to your left. Riesling is a very aromatic, delicate, and racy wine. High acidity. They come very sweet, particularly some of those German Spätburgunder, Spätlese Rieslings. But also they come less sweet, particularly if you are choosing a Cabernet version, a version that is much earlier picked out of the fields. It is, and some people really refer to it as the most expressive, age-worthy white wine grape in the world. I once had the chance to be at Schloss Johannisberg near Frankfurt, the world famous vineyard and castle. And they brought me down into that cellar. And in the cellar, I had the chance to taste the German Riesling that was 100 years old. 100 years old, and it was good. So that is rare for white wine. Typically, white wines you drink within 1, 2, or 3 years after they got bottled. But those Rieslings are special. Germany is the powerhouse of Riesling, even though I said before the grape probably arguably came from France. Half of all the Riesling wine in the world is harvested in Germany, particularly in the Rheingau, in the Pfalz, and in the Mosel regions. But then you have a fair amount in France, that's particularly Alsace, and in Austria. And then in the United States, California now is pretty big on Riesling, but you also have them in states like Michigan or New York, right here in New York, out on Long Island. Lime, green apple, beeswax, jasmine, those are the fruits that typically dominate a Riesling. The Sauvignon Blanc is a tick heavier, a little bit more alcohol than the Riesling. They are still very, very light wine. Both of these are lighter than a Chardonnay. And in Sauvignon Blanc, you find more grass, you find more green fruits. It's a sharp tone to it because it also has high acidity. Typically not oaked, but they also come oaked. And if they come oaked, you would refer to them as a Fumé Blanc, right, that we have over here, as opposed to a straight Sauvignon Blanc that is not oaked. Sauvignon Blanc is also called New Zealand's signature grape. So again, as it came from France, New Zealand made it a home grape. And as the Riesling came from France, Germany made it its signature grape. But you also find Sauvignon Blancs, of course, in California. You find them in Chile, in South Africa, and Australia. The fruits is more, as I mentioned, green apple, but you also find gooseberry, peach, grapefruit, and melon. The French equivalent of the Sauvignon Blanc is Sancerre. And then finally and last, I want to introduce you to the Chardonnay. Obviously, I have a detailed series on the Chardonnays. So this is a Matchbox Chardonnay, old head Chardonnay, done in oak. Chardonnays come unoaked and oaked. Typically a French Chardonnay would be unoaked in steel tanks. And the French also, the most famous French Chardonnay is Chablis that I'm sure all of you have heard of. But in California, it is the signature white wine grape out of California. Chardonnays are much more broad, they're versatile, they're inoffensive, they come fruity, they come oaky, they come buttery, or anything in between. They are much heavier than the other two, and that is why they have much more of a full body. And after all, it's my favorite white wine. All right, without any further ado, let's dive into the Rieslings. I'm opening up first the Krüger-Rumpf Münsterer Rheinberg Riesling Cabinet. So Cabinet tells me it was not too late in the field. So they probably took it out in August or early September. It's a 2011, so that's a 9-year-old white wine. You can tell already that the Rieslings, last a lot longer than other wines. I like my white wines typically around 48 degrees, up to maybe 55. I like it cold. Look how this wine is lighter in color than a typical Chardonnay, but I would say it's very, very light yellow. A beautiful see-through color. I like it a lot. Let's give it a sniffy sniff. Green apple, clearly. Lemongrass. A little bit of melon. Beautiful aromas. Okay, I'm ready for a whirl. Sparkles in it. Light, not much alcohol. A real good summer wine. I like it a lot. I give this a 4.5. I'm so amazed by this wine. Now this one right here, the 2015 J. Lohr, is a California Riesling, not a German. So I expect it to be much less sweet. Let's see how that goes. A little bit to clean out the glass. And now a pour for me to taste it. Oh, the color is significantly more dark. It has a little bit of a tone of amber in it. Very, very rich gold color. Rich gold color. Typically, you won't expect a Riesling to have that much yellow, solid color. Good looking wine, no doubt. Let's give it a sniffy sniff. Some vanilla. Very nice. Okay. A whirl. Refreshing. A lot of acidity. A little bit too much acidity for my taste. Still a very good wine. The finish is shorter. It's not as balanced as the German Riesling Kabinett Münster Rheinberg. But the wine is a little bit all over the map. For that reason, I give it a 3.5. Good wine, not as good as the wine that came from the Nahe, specifically the Münsterer Rheinberg. Okay, I have one more Riesling for you. That is because I wanted you to see how I taste a sweet one. So this is a Riesling Spätlese. St. Christopher Peaceporter Goldtröpfchen. The Peaceporter Goldtröpfchen is world famous in Germany. It's a Mosel wine, and this one is a 2016, so rather young for a Riesling. Let's pour out a little bit in the glass to clean it out. Okay, this bottle is green. This first bottle was light green. The J. Lohr was brown in the bottle. This one is beautiful smaragd green. Okay, here we see it. This wine is by far the lightest in color. By the way, the lightest in color, see-through, just a hint of gold, a beautiful light summer color. I expect this to be nice. Let's see. Let's give it a sniffy sniff. More yellow apple than green apple. All right, I want to see how this is on the palate. Let's give it a whirl. A lot sweeter than the other two. So if you like sweet wine from the Germans, always try to get a Spätlese. Spätlese means late pick. So they're picked at the end of September, October, sometimes the end of October. So they had a whole another month on the grape stock. Therefore, the wine has much more sugar, much more fruit in it. So for my taste, a little bit too much. I like my Rieslings a little bit less sweet. So that's why I prefer the Cabernet. So I am now moving over to the Sauvignon Blanc, and I'm starting with the Winters Reserve Kendall Jackson Sauvignon Blanc. If you have watched before my Chardonnay show, you know I love the Kendall Jackson Chardonnay. But this is the Kendall Jackson Sauvignon Blanc, probably around $15, very affordable. Sauvignon Blanc, typically less expensive than Chardonnays. Riesling, typically less expensive than Chardonnays. Okay, what do we see right here? Very light color, probably the lightest color we had today, even lighter than the Peace Porter Gold Töpfchen Riesling that we just looked at. But beautiful, beautiful light color. It indicates to me perfect wine for the summer. Melon, apricot, complex, lots of flavors, very interesting. All right, let's give it a whirl. Wow. Once you have it on the palate, it's shaking up and down a little bit, up and down a little bit. Intense, less intense, intense, less intense. What a journey on the tongue. Green apple. This is a green apple. Very nice wine. Not perfectly balanced. So I give this one a 3.5. Okay. Very interested to see now how the Ferrari Serrano 2017 Fumé Blanc compares to it. Again, Fumé Blanc is a Sauvignon Blanc that is oaked. That's why they call it Fumé Blanc. All right, clear the glass out and give it a full serving. Ferrari Serrano, Fumé Blanc. The color is middle gold, a little bit more color than the Kendall Jackson. Not as much color as we saw here in some of the Rieslings. Sniffy sniff. Some apple. Very good flavors. I like it a lot. Let's shake it around and give it a whirl. You can taste the oak. The finish is short. It has a good biting acidity and fruit in it. I give this wine a 3.0. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we are now coming to the heaviest of the three contenders. This is a Chardonnay, and I chose an oaked Chardonnay, the Matchbox. Matchbox is one of my top 10 favorite Chardonnays. It is sitting 6 to 9 months in old oak, which gives it that typical Chardonnay oaky taste. Again, the Chardonnays come fruity, oaky, and buttery, and all mixtures of the three in between. This is a 2016 Matchbox Matchbox. Matchbox are little toy cars that my brother and I used to play with. This is a matchbook. All right, let's clear out the glass a little bit. And let's give it a pour for me. Good pour. Matchbox. All right, this is significantly more yellow. You can see that this wine has a lot more oomph to it. High alcohol content for sure. It will have more body. Much more yellow apple and some melon. All right, let's give it a whirl. Brilliant. Very well balanced. Strong oak, but not overpowering. Well balanced oak. The oak metals with the fruit, so it's not overbearing fruity, not overbearing oaky. No butter in here, so this is one of those Chardonnays where I would say it's fruity and oaky. This is a good Chardonnay. I give this Chardonnay a 4.0. Ladies and gentlemen, that is my introduction to white wines. For the finale, I'm putting on my Decants with D hat. Typically, I'm not a head guy, but this looks so sharp, I'm gonna have to have it here. So, if you like this show, like it, you subscribe it. Every Sunday we are releasing another video. I see you next time.